Crimsonclad.
That's right, with me. Okay, so let's make sure everything's working. Let's make sure everyone's here. I'm a mess. You're a mess. Full Force Radio is good to go. People are filtering in. Let's get started. Let's make sure everybody's here. And then I will try to correct what's going on. So, hey, my name is Crimsonclad. I got great music for you tonight. Heavy metal, hard rock, Sass, all that good stuff. I'm going to hit all the buttons, do all the things, tweet all the twats, but I am hoping that everything looks good. Yay, people are excited. Sorry, I'm going to try and get all my hair out of my face and be ready. Be ready and prepared for today's show, which, you know what? At least music-wise I am. Personally, I'm never ready. I'm never ready for this show. What I need is to never work ever again and do nothing but prepare this show and be cool and do heavy metal radio. That's it. If I could just do that, then we would be laughing every day, all the time. PZ said, are you guys getting frame drops? Well, listen, depending on where you are hanging out and watching or listening to the show, you may or may not. The Discord can always be a little fucky. If things are not paying attention or working the way you expect them to, head to one of the streaming platforms because those will always be better than Discord. Let's be very realistic. So people are starting to wander in. I got to figure out what's going on with the lighting because everything is freaking out. But yeah, of course, thank you, Patient Zero. Everything is live. Everywhere is live. Everything is connected. The white balancing is having a moment, so I apologize because apparently every time I move, the white balance absolutely shits a brick. We'll try and fix that later as we go on. But hey, my name is Crimsonclad, and this is Full Force Radio, and oh my goodness, listen, it seems like tonight is going to be an adventure, but I have so much good music for you tonight. I'm stoked, and it's going to be a loud one. Now, some of you guys come to the show, and you're like, oh no, Crim, you're playing some really, really loud metal, and I know not everybody loves the growly, screamy, over-the-top, out-of-control metal. Let's be realistic. There's a lot of that tonight. And we're going to test you guys. We're going to test how you're doing and where you're at in the scheme of things because I have got some more extreme bands that I would like to share with you. And we'll see how she goes. We'll see how she goes. And we'll also maybe hope that for those of you who decide to watch instead of just listen, that the video calms down. And if it doesn't, well, it's an adventure and everything is an adventure. And this is just another step in today's adventure for you. So, sound good? Look good? Feel good? Hey, Mr. D. Hi, everybody else. I'm going to try and get this monitor flipped over to where it needs to be after. But all good in the hood. We will get started. This is wild for whatever reason. The white balancing is flipping its shit. I will have to maybe set on the camera that it's auto and then never again because this is wild. I don't know why it's doing this, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. No big deal. We'll survive. So, hey, we're going to give everybody a chance to get in here. I got to do the tweet. I got to do the thing. And I got to make sure more people wander in because, like I said, tonight's great music. And I mean, I'd at least like to get you guys here before I scare you away. If you were here last week, we did the Halloween warm-up show, which was hilarious. We ended up talking about, my mom in the bone throne. And so today, I am doing a little bit of a warm-up because in 24 hours or a little bit more than that, I will be hopping on a plane and getting ready to fly to Montreal. And that's excellent. But of course, Montreal is back east in Canada. It's a little bit cooler than here in Vancouver. And of course, it is now fall. We're, moving towards winter. It is Tuque season. And so if you happen to be wandering around and you saw the title of tonight's show, or at least the interim title, and you saw the word Tuque and you're about to get triggered, I apologize for nothing. What can I say? This is one of those things that I often mention on the show. I often bring it up. It often happens, and people go, "What the fuck's a toque? Oh my god, toque's a stupid word," etc., etc., etc. And this is where we always end up arguing about whether or not it's called a toque or a beanie or a knit cap. And apparently, people all over the world tend to call it a beanie. So I thought we could also talk a little bit about the etymology of the word toque, because it's toque starts with T which is for trigger. So on the playlist tonight, I have some of the best metal bands from, yes, in the idiot tone of voice too. What's a fucking beanie, man? Oh, Lordy. So I'm going to be, I'm going to be playing you guys a number of Montreal bands, some bands that are French, and then, you know what? Let's be realistic. Tonight's a mixed bag because so much great new music came out. I've got so many things to share with you. I want to try and drive some more people to all of the places to watch. Hey, kitty girl. And, we're gonna take a chance tonight, and I'm going to ease into it, and I'm going to see how you guys feel, because some of the music that I'm going to share with you guys might be a little scary. What's next, Dreads? Are you trying to suggest to me that, wearing a toque, wearing a hat that is for cold weather, it must be like culturally somebody owns the idea of having a toque? Get lost, man. All right. So if you were here last week, we did the sort of Halloween show, and it was wild. It was so much fun. It was crazy. And so this week I'm trying to decide, where to start, because I'm going to try and mix things up. I'm going to try and shape things in a way that, we don't scare anybody off too early, and we'll have new, we'll have old, we'll have, some favorites and some other things. And we're going to let it ride. We're going to let it ride. So if you guys are good to go, I will consult with you over the next little bit. Apparently there's already been snow in Alberta. Well, fuck that noise. I'm from Vancouver, and our snow stays appropriately up on the mountains where it needs to stay until I want to go visit it. And then it may come down again. But before that, nah, brah, nah. All right, so let's go do a tweet twat. Did everything fire? I don't know. Let's see. Everything did? Okay, perfect. So listen, Full Force Radio tonight will be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot noisier. So for some of you, this may be an adventure. But for most of you, I'm hoping you'll be stoked to have some good metal in your ears. My name is Crimsonclad. So where do I want to start tonight? That is the question. Now, because normally what happens, it's been at least 2 years since I was on a plane. And so for a lot of us, that's the reality again. COVID has made it so that flying around, that's not as normal as it used to be. And if you guys remember, the last time that I was in Montreal, I did a very similar show to this. I did a French Connection show. It was very like, oui. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm pretty sure if I go flinging through the lists, one in there literally says oui, because we were listening to French metal, and it was kind of a Montreal warm-up. So I thought, okay, well, I want to get people in here. I want to lure you into a false sense of security. And I want to play a band that I don't always get to play for you guys, depending, because often we get into a theme. And post-metal or slower tracks, or not quite as hardcore in the sense that we often think of metal, sometimes those tracks get left by the wayside. So I want to play you a band called 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖛. Now, they're not from Canada. They're not Canadian French, but they are French. And they make the most incredibly beautiful atmospheric black metal, post-black. I mean, they can do no wrong. And so I want to start with, putting some good vibes out there. And I want to put something off an album called Kodama. It's just absolutely excellent album. And I want to start there, and then we'll kind of see how you guys are feeling and navigate our way through. I've got some real classics tonight from rock and roll bands. I've got some insane noise tonight from bands you probably never heard of, and everything in between. So we'll talk about hats. We'll talk about Montreal. We will brainstorm some things for me to do on a plane, and we'll talk about toques. And if that sounds like a good time, cram a bunch of metal in it, and hopefully I will be able to entertain you for the next couple of hours. My name is Crimsonclad. This is Full Force Radio. We're going to start off with a track called Untouched by 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 here on Full Force Radio. It has a very quiet start. I promise it's going to play. All right. So some of you guys are asking, was that metal? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. And you know, Kitty Girl is like, hey, it's somewhere in the middle of goth rock, industrial, ambient. Yeah. And it is beautiful. Hey, Mariano, thanks for everybody who's jumping in to join us. I see slowly people are filtering their way over to all of the different streams. You know, this is post-black is this really interesting space right now, atmospheric and post-black, and we've talked about it on the show before. But overall, it is essentially an area in metal where we are seeing some of these really extreme sounds kind of shaped and pulled back and loaded with emotion, but not necessarily just straight up incredible decibel volume. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, that was actually a pretty down-tempo song. If you go through Kodama and you go through some of the other parts of Alcest, that's the band Kitty Girl, Alcest, Alcest. If you go through their back catalog, you will find some songs that have an unbelievable sort of intensity to them and often do have some more sort of distorted guitars, heavy sounds, blast beats, but underneath this sort of, I don't know, almost mournful, longing sound. It's beautiful stuff. It's not necessarily what you straight up think of as metal, but it is a very valuable part of the metal spectrum. And so, yes, Kodama. So one of the things, and actually if you weren't watching, if you are watching, if you flip back over, the album art is insanely beautiful. These skeletal hands, this waif-like woman floating in a pond surrounded by water lilies, you know, with these skeletal hands clutching at her, dragging her down. Honestly, all of it's really incredibly beautiful. So Alceste is a band from France, and all of the lyrics are in French, indeed. So that's it. That's the tenuous connection to tonight. Hey, Viking Adventurer. That's it. That's the whole 9 yards right there. And so with that, that is the perfect way to lure some of you in, to have you sit on down, grab a cup of tea, and because we're going to rip tonight. We're going to fucking rip tonight. So, listen, on Saturday, I will be flying for the first time in 2 years. This will be very interesting. I have to get a negative COVID test before I go. The whole 9 yards. But I'm flying back east. I'm finally getting back to see all my friends and loved ones in Montreal. And of course, I will be there for a virtual conference for the Hive blockchain and lots of things going on. And I'm very excited about it because, you know, we've mentioned it here on the show before, and one of the things that brings me the most joy is getting to meet many of you, obviously, and then also, you know, getting to do some education and other stuff. If I'll throw this out there just now, if the sound on Discord starts being terrible, and actually it looks like the bot has crapped out entirely, if it's terrible, ping Ron. If Ron's not around, I will try and get the bot going again. But please remember, you can go to mspwaves.com. You can listen on the station, or you can go to Twitch, Trovo, Theta, Vim. There are a number of places that you could be watching right now. And I highly recommend that you do actually go to either Vim TV, Theta TV, or Trovo Live, because these are all of the streaming alternatives that are a little bit better than Twitch and YouTube in terms of growing a community and being a little more equitable, both to listeners and DJs. So I've thrown it out there. And yes, of course, as your attorney, I advise you to blame Shane. So yeah, I'm going to be getting on a plane for the first time in 2 years. And this is interesting to me. It's not necessarily anxiety inducing, but it certainly is. I'm thinking about what this is going to look like, because of course we know with everything that is happening around the COVID sphere that there are a lot of things going on with flight cancellations and timing and, you know, everything that comes with all of the weirdness of the last couple of years, right? And there has been plenty of weirdness, certainly. So I was thinking about things because normally when I'm on the plane, I will find something to do. I will find a way to entertain myself. It's never an issue, right? And I was thinking to myself, boy, you know, what'd be really interesting is I've got 1 or 2 more patches that I would love to put on my battle vest. And, you know, do you think, I've never thought about this, but do you think that I will get, attacked or shot by an air marshal if I decide to either embroider or sew on a plane? Can I take a sewing needle on a plane? I've never thought about this. Now, since they're willing to come for you for nail scissors and nail clippers and all sorts of ridiculous things, ridiculous things, yes, Air Canada did. They just fired 800 employees. And so I was thinking about this in the back of my head, in the back of my mind. And I was a little concerned because I thought, boy, oh boy, either, my flight is going to be delayed forever. Fine, whatever, I'll live. I mean, I am a master of getting comfortable in airports. Believe me, I have slept in airports all around the world and miserable conditions, just miserable conditions. So I'm not worried about that part, but I was thinking, boy, if I took a needle and thread on an airplane, A, would it be able to go on the airplane with me? And B, would somebody flip their fucking shit if I decided to just sew for a little bit? Hey, Vaquero, yes, I am. Hi, Crystal. Hello. More and more people hopping on in. Sewing kits contain, perfect. They are permitted. Delightful. I'm going to bring a sewing kit because I thought, I've got one or two more little things that I would love to put on my battle vest. Why don't I sew on the plane? Why don't I have some motherfucking arts and crafts all up on the plane? So that's great. I'm glad. This is why I have intelligent listeners to keep me on the straight and narrow and make sure that I don't get, put in, I don't get duct taped to a chair on my next flight. But a bottle of water? Absolutely fucking not. Yes, the giant penis Satan was a big deal. We have some weird art here in Vancouver. We can absolutely talk about that at some point. So yeah, tonight's show is French Connection music, Montreal bands, some new music, and then also some stuff that's just kind of inspired by the fact that it feels so surreal to be traveling. It's a little bit like taking off. I was feeling a little bit spacey, and I thought I'd put together a fun sort of space-inspired playlist for you. So there's space, there's Montreal, there's toques. Yes, this hat is a toque, and if you're not watching and only listening, I would like to remind you that if you are a Canadian with a piece of knit headwear, it is not a beanie, it is a toque. And I'm going to get some hate mail, because I always do every time I wear the toque, and everybody goes, oh, it's a beanie. It's not a beanie, it's a toque. I'm a Canadian, it's a toque. You're watching a Canadian, you're listening to a Canadian, you're imbibing Canadian content, it's a goddamn toque. Oh, goodness gracious me. All right, so let us continue on. So here's the deal. One of the sort of artists that I really enjoy and that I thought I might share with you guys. Yes, the giant penis Satan. He actually was only up for a day. He has a giant erection. What's going on around his pee-pee is he has a giant sculpted bush. And listen, for people who are listening and you're wondering what the hell's going on, everybody is sharing a piece of art that was only up briefly in Vancouver. Somebody placed a giant statue of a devil with just a ridiculous erect schlong. It didn't last very long, but it was up for a day. It was up for a day or two. But we do still have some weird art here. But that one really did take the cake. And I don't know where it went after it was up. But it certainly did not get to stay up for very long. Let's put it that way. All right. So what I want to do is I want to play you an artist that I'm really a fan of. And his name is 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. And so, when I started this show, when I started Fullforce Radio, one of the things that I loved to do was to play Bizarro World metal covers. And I would find covers of metal tracks. Sometimes it would be a metal band covering another metal band. Sometimes it would be a non-metal song covered by a metal band. Sometimes it would be a metal cover of a non-metal song, a non-metal cover of a metal song. You know what I mean? All of the different combinations. So there's this artist named 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆, and for a while there, he was a real synthwave fan, and he was actually taking synthwave songs and making metal covers of them. And he does fantastic, fantastic work. Well, over the past year or two, he's been creating more and more original work and just writing metal tracks. And he just released a track that I thought, man, This reminds me of Fear Factory. This reminds me of sort of industrial metal, and it gives me good vibes. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to sneak this in here because I love the idea of sharing lesser known artists with you guys. And everything this guy does is gold. So we'll pick it up. It's a totally different tempo from where we started with Alceste. My name is Crimsonclad. I'm hoping that everything kind of picks up because I realize the Discord for some people is their preferred way to listen, but it's not playing nice. Yes, absolutely. 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆, you've got some great artists on that list, and I'm gonna test some of these tonight. We're gonna see if we can get listeners who maybe haven't heard some of the more heavy bands on that list. We're gonna try and pull them into our Canadian clutches. But yes, there's so much good metal in Canada. So much. All right. So I'm going to play you this track. It's 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. It's called Eraser. It has an industrial vibe. It's got kind of a really upbeat driving tempo. It's very synth driven. And it's some of the first sort of releases from 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆 that are original, not just covers that have been made metal. And he's great for both. All right, so where is Ron? Can somebody please help Ron? Because otherwise, I am hoping that the sound is great for everyone else, everywhere else that you're listening tonight. My name is Crimsonclad. We're having a whole lot of fun here tonight. I'm hoping I have a great list for you guys. And as we spiral downward into the depths of the evening, the music is going to get louder and heavier and wilder, and I'm stoked for it. So I'm hoping nobody leaves right away and that I genuinely drive you away with loud, heavy, scary music later on. But we have to get there first. Let's do something that's still quite fun and upbeat, kind of poppy. 𝖊𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆. The track is called Eraser. My name is Crimsonclad, and this is Fullforce Radio. All right, hang on. There we go. I was literally trying to do the tweet twat. So there you go. It has those industrial vibes, very sort of like late 90s. I'm a big fan, and I'm actually excited for this album. So the reason that I brought this up is because I was initially thinking of putting some Fear Factory into tonight's playlist, but I've played them recently, and I know I want to do a deep dive on them because, of course, you guys were mentioning, hey, here's a bunch of bands, here's a bunch of topics, you know, we want to see more deep dives. So I'm sort of compiling some of these bands that would be great for that.
But I do want to show you, one sec here. I'm just going to quickly, there we go. So I want to quickly show you guys what brought it up, because I was thinking, oh man, I got to put this in here, and I'm going to tie this into the show. And there is no tie into the show. Let's be realistic. I suck. But what I wanted to do, and I'm going to actually show you guys, let's see if I can get, what does the browser look like? Do you think it's set up? It's not set up. This is really tiny, but let's just try for a second here. I'm going to show you guys. This is something that I almost bought today, and I'm willing to not be talked out of it. So here you go. Here is a purchase that I'm thinking about making. A Fear Factory shirt. So Fear Factory, really an important part of the sort of 90s industrial heavy sort of death metal, grungy, weird sort of explosion of sound that came out of the 90s. And Fear Factory had an album called 𝖬𝖊𝖆𝖎, and it was an incredibly influential album. It was in like 94 or 95. But we are now at 37 years. 37 years, the anniversary of Terminator, and 30 years of Fear Factory. And so this shirt got put out, and every sort of nerdy part of me wants this fucking shirt. It's a 𝖬𝖊𝖆𝖎 album shirt, but it has a picture of Arnold as the Terminator in just giant. And I mean, I know that's so cringy on so many levels to have a giant picture of Arnold blazoned across your chest, but the Terminator is amazing. First of all, look at this, man. The Terminator is amazing, first of all, and Fear Factory is amazing, second of all. So I'm trying not to spend too much money, but this is where I'm at. So I put some 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆 in the playlist tonight instead, and I'm just gonna live in that headspace lest I spend more money on air with you guys. So listen. It is Full Force, a radio. My name is Crimsonclad, and apparently the radio station is not, that's lovely, patient zero. The radio station is not cooperating as beautifully as it could. So please remember, you can always go to any one of the live stream locations. It'll sound good, it'll look good, and we'll have a lot of fun. What else have I got on tonight's playlist? Well, like I said, it's a mixed bag, and I've got a bunch of stuff that makes me happy and a bunch of new releases. So I am more chairs. Yeah, you know what? If you were here last week, we opportunity purchased a scam chair for Halloween off of a Chinese reseller site. Now, if you're in the Crimsonclad Discord, you may have gotten the update, but for anybody who was curious about our poor little chair, I regret to inform you that I will not be getting a skull throne. I will not be getting a bone chair. I wasn't even ripped off. The reality was, the next day after I made that purchase, the website was taken down and PayPal automatically refunded the money. So, I mean, somebody at PayPal is probably like, oh my goodness, this girl is a moron. That was a blatantly fake site. And yeah, I knew that, but I thought maybe, just maybe we could leverage that into something absolutely hilarious. And maybe I'd get something funny. But no, mini bone throne, no bone throne whatsoever. I apologize. What can I say? I mean, I don't have a lot of good things to say about PayPal, but they went out of their way to protect me from my own stupidity, even though I consensually and knowingly participated in stupidity. Didn't happen, guys. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. I don't know how to say your name, but I'm going to ruin it. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆. Hey, welcome, man. Or lady, or dude, whatever. We're all just organisms floating in the eternal goo here. I'm so glad to have you. So, here is the deal. We are playing heavy metal, hard rock, talking Sass tonight. We're talking about Tuques. I'm going to Montreal. I'm trying to keep myself entertained on my very first... Clay is correct. Crim ain't getting boned for Halloween. It is sad. It's quite sad, actually. What can I say? Although I will say that I do have a clip that I will happily share with all of you. A perfect clip of the bone throne
So if you would like to go back and relive last week, but you don't want to watch a whole Halloween spooky Full Force episode, well, then I have a clip for you. It's right there, and it is the the lead. Oh, it is, lady. Look at you. What a babe. All right, so I'm stoked to have you. We started off with Alceste. We moved into some 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆. So here's the deal. I am going to play a lot of new music tonight. And one of the bands that I was talking to you guys about a couple weeks ago was some more sort of down-tempo Viking style metal. And, oh, my hair elastic just fell out. Whatever. So I want to play something by a band called 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆, and I was sharing some of that a couple weeks ago, and I was telling you that I'm quite excited for this upcoming album. Well, they have indeed just released the album. Now, my dudes, I'm not even going to attempt, I'm not even going to try to attempt to say the name of this album. I'm going to put it on the screen, and some of you can guess, and then I'm going to play a track from it because it is great. It's a great album. I managed to get through it today, and I was I was listening through it, and so I'm excited. But let me just show you what the name of this is. Can I put it up on the screen really big? Maybe. All right. So here, let's just flip over here quickly. Oh, it's not big at all. Muffin. So here it is. It's called 𝖍𝖊𝖎𝖆. It doesn't matter. If you were a Viking, you would yell this at somebody running into combat, and it would be absolutely unbelievable. So this is a little bit more down tempo. The 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆, the little effer, the little heifer, the 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. Those are all great, and those all are like mildly insulting, and I think you're fabulous. I'm just gonna call you Lita, I think, because there's a lot of baby Litas in metal, so you're gonna fit right in. So I'm gonna play you this track. And it's called 𝐹𝑜rang for Fiend. Don't know what it means, doesn't matter, but it's a great track, and it's got these galloping drums, and they are super excellent. So we're going to do that. We're going to listen to a little bit of Viking metal, and then the spiral will begin. I'm going to play you guys some heavier rock and roll, moving into some extreme metal bands, because of course I want to play some stuff from Montreal. And one of the things that's most interesting, and maybe this reflects on some of the people in chat who are from Montreal, who are incredible, interesting artists and, you know, all around spazzes, is some of the most extreme metal in the world comes out of Canada, and indeed comes out of Montreal. Montreal is a haven for technical death metal, for noise metal, for like all sorts of insane shit. And I'm hoping that I can con you guys into listening to a band maybe like Cryptopsy, which often for this show is a little too heavy. Everybody's kind of like, oh, a pearl clutch. But what if while clutching those pearls, we delved a little deeper into some of my favorite scary bands? Let's see. I'm going to play you good stuff. I'm going to play you old school stuff. I'm going to play you brand new stuff. Montreal metal, French Connection, and also all about Tuques. My name is Crimsonclad. This is Full Force Radio. Here you go. It's brand new 𝖍𝖆𝖆𝖆. There you go. Brand new 𝖊𝖆𝖆. I got soup on my face. My name is Crimsonclad. This is Fullforce Radio. It is a show that is a bit of a warm-up for my first time traveling in 2 years. We got new people in the chat, and yes, I'm with Clay. This track, I wish I had a monocle. This track fornicates. Yeah, that track fucks. 𝖊𝖆𝖆, it's great because if you've been around to this show enough, Viking metal tends to have a couple different directions that it goes in. It's either incredibly sort of like acoustic and chanty, which is more the traditional route, or it's like rip your fucking guts out, throat screaming, tearing, Amon Amarth, axes buried in somebody's skull kind of thing, And so those are sort of the extreme ends of it, but 𝖊𝖆𝖆 kind of falls somewhere in the middle and does a little bit of both. And so I listened through the new album, and it is good. It's good. Crystal likes that. Yes. Listen, if you can listen to a song and feel like your skull has been split into two, that's good metal. That's how you know it's quality. And so speaking of, I do have some stuff tonight that's going to absolutely, I'm going to ask you, but for now I'm going to ask you a question. So we've already determined tonight that I will be able to spend some of my downtime on the plane heading over to Montreal sewing some patches onto my battle vest, which I'm very excited about because I'm almost done, but I would love to spend some time doing that. Hey, Marco's here. People are more wandering around and checking out the stream. I'm glad to have you all the places that you are. And so, yeah, we got some loud metal on the playlist tonight. We're going to talk about the etymology of the word tuque because immediately, every time I wear this, people call it a beanie. And obviously here in Canada, that's not the case. We call it a tuque. It's a tuque. Nobody else in the world uses this term. It's a knit cap, it's a beanie, it's a hat, it's a stocking cap. There are a trillion names, and you're all fucking wrong. It's a tuque. Yeah, Clay, we actually, just before you wandered in, we were talking about this. I was thinking, can I actually have a needle on a plane? Hey, good to see you. Pikes is back. Hi, my friend. So no, I'm not actually headed for a show, and I did pull it up earlier. I've been keeping an eye out because one of my favorite things to do in Montreal, and I do often fly to Montreal for shows. I am that crazy kind of metal goer, and I'm just thinking of Monty Python now. Is your wife a goer? Does she go? Does she like to go? Yes, she is, and she does. Here's the deal. Living in parts of America, but certainly Canada, we don't have the same population as obviously dense population centers in the States. And so bands on tour, metal or not, often have to choose where they go on tour. And Vancouver isn't always a stop. And if nothing else, often bands will kind of hop up from New York or come down the eastern seaboard. And so more often than not, bands will stop back east, but they will not stop in Vancouver. And so Lord knows over the past 5 years or so, I have absolutely flown to Montreal to see bands, and I will continue to do that. It's one of my favorite things. And one of my favorite venues is called Fullforce. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 𝕍𝖊𝖆. It apparently means electric butt cheeks. It is this mafia-run dive bar in the center of town. It's a couple of floors. The inside of it is decorated with like gross graffiti. The outside has this like 3-story Cerberus skull mural. The inside is all decorated with these weird sort of statues of welded together saw blades and tires, and it's a great fucking venue. And going to Montreal, the metal scene in Montreal is awesome. And so, as I was mentioning earlier, there's a lot of extreme metal that does come out of Montreal, and I have a couple bands on the playlist tonight that I'm hoping I'm going to gently gape you guys into. We use that term here a lot. Or, when I say I'm gonna get that metal into you, that's what we're gonna do. But in the meantime, there is a lot of new metal, like that last track, and there's some other stuff that I want to talk about. Now, if you've been listening to this show for the last 5 years, and some of you have, tu parles français? Mon français est très mauvais, very bad. And most people parlent trop vite, they talk too fast and go like this. So I'm often telling people like, no, en anglais. It is. So yeah, my French is absolutely terrible. If somebody speaks very slowly, then I'll understand most of the conversation. And I'm far too shy to speak it. But in general, you just need to know how to give a thumbs up and offer someone a beer, and you'll get around just fine. Music has no language. But if you've been around for the last 5 years or so, you will know that on this show, we love us. Hey, Marky, we love us some Scorpions. We do. And I actually see that 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖘 has shared some Spirit Box in chat. We played Spirit Box a couple weeks ago, actually, on the playlist. So, hey, JJ, good to see you. So, I want to actually kind of talk about this because the Scorpions are one of those bands that, love them or hate them, ballads or rock and roll, they shaped the direction that metal went in. There are some incredible Scorpions tracks, and a lot of what the Scorpions were doing, especially with album covers, was fairly uncomfortable. They were such a big band, and they would put out these sort of provocative albums like Love Drive is the woman in the back seat and the man is fondling her breast, but his hand is like a weird bubblegum stretched attached to her breasts. Like, they put out stuff that at the time, like now, what is that? Who cares? I mean, Nicki Minaj has got her tits smashed up to things all the time. But at the time, there were these sort of things that they were doing that were a little bit counterculture, that kind of straddled the line between underground metal, between these bands that were rising up and sort of creating the true badass imagery of metal, and mainstream rock and roll that was starting to become what it's known for today, which is shit disturbing, right? But the most interesting thing was the Scorpions were doing this, but then they were still writing these incredible ballads like Winds of Change and other songs. Everybody knows the Scorpions song. Everybody knows Rock You Like a Hurricane. But I'm going to play something off my absolute favorite album, and it's a live album. And, stop me if you already know what's going on. I'm going to play something off the Tokyo tapes. And so the Tokyo tapes were recorded live in Japan, obviously, in 1978. And there is something electric about them. Every track on this album, the audience in Japan, they're ravenous. The energy is palpable. Listening to this album, it crackles. And the cover of the album is this image of them while they're playing, and just everything is explosive. And so, at the end of the day, yes, exactly like that. At the end of the day, that's basically straight up the picture of the squishy bubblegum boob in chat. That's basically a Scorpions reference. So at the end of the day, I know that often when you come to these shows, you're expecting sort of a wide variety of metal, but I always love to play the rock and roll and the metal that shaped where we are now and the things I love now, and this stuff that happened before, some of us were even born. Some of you guys were around the first time and you fucking loved it. And here's me late to the party. Well, I want to play this for you guys. So I'm going to play one of the longer tracks of the evening. And I'm going to play you a track that, I'm sure the Montreal crew won't love. But if we're talking about wearing toques and we're talking about it being a little bit cooler in Montreal, I'm going to play you a track called Polar Nights. Because, of course, heading into the winter and the fall back east, shit chilly. Oh, shit chilly. I'm from Vancouver. Everything is very... Three Little Bears. Everything is just right. And then I go back east and I freeze my tits off. So the toque is on. The music is loaded. My name is Crimsonclad. This is Fullforce Radio. I want to play you guys some Scorpions because they're putting out a new album. It's coming. It's on the way. You can pre-order it now. They're still making music. But I want to play you something that was recorded in 1978. It's one of the best tracks out there from one of the best albums out there. It's Polar Nights on Fullforce Radio.
Okay, this is a tune from 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆, and this one's Polar Nights. Thank you very much.
That excessive rock and roll ending. There you go. Oh my lord, that is some good fucking Scorpions. So there you go. That is a track called Polar Nights. Now, you know what? First of all, holy fucking shit, right? And second of all, yeah. So I was just watching the chat, and yes, of course. Bye, Lita. So. Clay is saying like, oh, that album cover looks a little rude. And yeah, it does, but who cares? They are caught up in the throes of devil music. Patient Zero has made the most incredible "This track fornicates" gifs. We're going to save that one. And I'm definitely going to make, in the Crimsonclad server, I am going to make a room. Hey, White Rhino, what is up, my man? So I am absolutely going to make a channel where you can dump all of your terrible crim memes, because every day there are more and more of them, and they're hilarious, and I love them. So I might even put the "This track fornicates" seal of approval right here on the screen in a minute. So here's the deal. I was watching chat in there, and yeah, so the Tokyo tapes are this really interesting thing. And I mean, I'm not full of useless Scorpion knowledge, but I am. And because this is one of my favorite live albums, I do know a little bit about it. That did not indeed sound like Klaus, the main singer of the Scorpions, because that track, and basically that and one other track alone, 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆 was the singer. And the Tokyo tapes are interesting because that was his last set of performances with the band. He ended up actually leaving the band after that. So that was the last sort of time that you heard that magical first connection of these incredible musicians together. And it's quite interesting because the first time that the Tokyo tapes were released, that track was not released with them. It was only included when the Tokyo tapes were remastered and re-released for like an, 20-somethingth anniversary. So, I mean, that is probably not one you've heard. It is really full of sort of these masturbatory solos and all the best sorts of things that really make rock and roll a lot of fun, and kind of encapsulated the magic that the Scorpions kind of came onto the scene with. So there you go. Now you know. So J-Ben has followed. It's good to see you, man. And yes, people are waving, saying hello. I'm stoked to have you guys. We are talking a little bit about, the past, the present, the future. I'm traveling over to Montreal. So tonight's playlist kind of has some heavy Montreal bands. We're talking a little bit about extreme metal, bands that kind of inspire me, and a lot of new music pulled into the playlist. So I got a lot of stuff to play for you guys. And so remember how I said I was going to try and test you guys? One of the things that we don't play a lot of, or what I've been slowly introducing regular listeners to, is technical death metal. Now, we've talked a lot about tech death and how it can be a pretty big mountain to climb, especially for people who are not huge metalheads to begin with. Many of you, we are finding the parts of the genre that are exciting to you. And each week, whether it's power metal or traditional metal or thrash or death metal or melodeath or, atmospheric, psychedelic, stoner, grunge, doom, funeral, we're finding something for each of you. But tech death is one of those sorts of genres that is really, hey, good to see you, cider junkie, Bemble, whatever you want me to call you. Hello, my friend. And so, you see, you play the Scorpions and the Germans just all arrive. It's the Germans! So I'm going to play some tech death. And for a lot of you, we'll see how you guys feel about this, because talking about going to Montreal, there are bands from Montreal that produce some of the most challenging metal in the world, even just to listen to. Now, I actually really enjoy some of this, but it's certainly not something that I can listen to all the time back to back. This is not one of those things that you put on and fall asleep to. Or maybe you do. But I'm going to test a band called Cryptopsy. And they are some of the sort of forefathers of technical death metal. They created this northern version of the sound. They started putting out these absolute punishing oral assaults. And I want to play something off basically one of their very first albums, and sort of, again, an album that had, hey, Groff, that had sort of the the Wonder lineup. So they had a vocalist called 𝖍𝖕𝖆𝖆. He ended up leaving the band, coming back to the band, leaving the band again. There was a lot of animosity. So I want to play something from early on here. And I want to play you a track called Graves of the Fathers. And it's off an album called None So Vile. Now, this is some pretty awesome tech death. And of course, technical death metal has come a long way in the last couple decades. And if you were here last week, you actually probably got a little bit of tech death infused with prog if you heard that 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘 track. So, you know, I know a lot of you guys come for the banter and you want Crim to talk about Tuques, and we're going to talk about getting boned in the bone throne, but every now and again, I just want to lay some music on you guys. So we'll see. I suspect for some of you, this is going to be the part where you kind of turn down the sound and you go heat up your tea. And that's A-okay, because I promise you, if you come back, I have got some classic bands after this. I've got some brand new releases, and then we're going to space, because that's, you know what? Montreal and space may as well be in the same universe. Well, I guess, okay, yeah, in the same universe. But I mean more like the journey. Because it's been so long since I've traveled, there's absolutely no difference between going to outer space or Montreal. That's how fucking weird it is. And that's all going to get pulled into tonight's playlist. So let's see you come. Yay! So that's perfect. I would like you all to come, and just remember that these tracks fornicate. So I'm going to play you something scary. I love it. I know 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆 loves it. And many of you guys probably are into it. But let's see how you guys think. So this first little bit, there's about the first 20 or 30 seconds of the song are very, very disjointed. And it takes a second for everything to coalesce. And then all of a sudden, it's just this incredible wall of sound. We'll see what you guys think. It is the first time that I've played probably some of the heavier tech death on the show. And I will probably... see, this isn't actually as brutal as a lot of Cryptopsy, but you know what? I'm hoping I'll find one or two of you that are like, yes, give me more. And more extreme metal fans will be born. My name is Crimsonclad. We're halfway through the show. This is Fullforce Radio. It's heavy metal, hard rock, and sass. From the Scorpions to Cryptopsy, from Vancouver to Montreal to the vast reaches of outer space. Grab your toque and let's fly, kids. really enjoy Cryptopsy, but I have to say, I enjoy your guys' response, especially as somebody who maybe doesn't listen to technical death metal or heavy, extreme types of metal at all. That was delightful. And we only lost a couple of people. So, you did it. You're amazing. You sat through one of the heaviest bands that Canada has ever produced. They have a fascinating discography. But yeah, if you ever need like a soundtrack to go outside to like, I don't know, smash a hard drive to, like, forget Office Space. That's what you need. You need some Cryptopsy. You just need to be like, as you just, I don't know, whatever. It's good, aggressive, incredible, insane music. Now, I want to highlight a comment that was made during that, and there were many comments, but we have some Aussies in the chat, and between Oz and Crystal, they have confirmed, yeah, brutal, they have confirmed that is what koalas having sex is like. That's amazing. I don't know what to do with that information, but I mean, let's be realistic. The members of the band from Montreal, Canada, probably don't know that. And there are many bands out there that do this kind of thing. There's 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖘. They have a parrot. There's a band that has a growling pit bull as their lead singer. There's tons of like weird animal noise metal. This is all a thing. Yeah, your towels are looking awesome. But so apparently, you know, I have opinions on koalas. I don't want to throw this out there, but I mean, koalas seem like trash animals. Everybody's like, oh, they're so cute. And then you see them and they're syphilitic. They're not always the most intelligent. They're full of diseases. Koalas have like chlamydia. Their brains are rotting. They jump out of trees and attack you. And now apparently their sex sounds like, so, I mean, they kind of seem like a trash animal. Some things you've learned today. Anyways, Fullforce Radio, there you go. Montreal is a home of artists and musicians, and, you know, it is, yes, husky metal is also a thing. You know, it's a fabulous place full of all sorts of extremes, and honestly, like, if you do want some of the most absolutely challenging, heavy, yeah, you'd sound like that too. You know what? You're right. Maybe if I was a chlamydia-riddled, syphilitic, retarded animal with, like, gross, drooly, angry face and tiny, beady black eyes that falls out of trees and just imbues sexual transmitted diseases onto people I'm not even having sex with, then maybe I would make those kinds of noises too. It's a good point, really, actually. So yeah, I'm canceled because I've spoken poorly of koalas, but what can I say? They sound like junk a little bit. So, hey, this is Fullforce Radio, and I'm doing a warm-up show because, of course, next week I will be doing this exact show from Montreal. Fingers crossed, I'll be doing it from my Airbnb, and we'll be having some fun and whatnot. So the reality is yeah, I do have some sort of challenging Montreal bands in the playlist tonight. However, is that an offer? No, I'm not going to drop out of a tree and give you syphilis. I'm sorry. I mean, what can I say? So I do want to play some bands for you, and I do want to play some music from before I was a twinkle as a reward for getting through some of these tracks, which may be challenging for you. Listen, so let me put this out there. You know, that album, None So Vile, that album was the lead singer, 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆, ended up actually leaving the band after that. And he came back again, and then he left again. And you know, the band said they kicked him out. He said he left for health reasons. He took a job to work at a brewery, you know. And he was very open about the fact that he actually found that type of music and the music they were making on some of the albums that he was singing on, he liked the process of making it. He liked the expression. He liked the creation and everything. But it wasn't necessarily music that he would listen to. And he actually said, you know, you get tired, that exertion of energy playing it is one thing, but to listen to it, you need to exert energy, and it's something that sort of envelops you, and you may not actually like listening to it because it becomes a task and, something to conquer. So, excuse me, for whatever reason you enjoy metal, there is something out there for you. And I certainly do have a part of me that truly enjoys dissonant, angry, ridiculous sounds that, maybe aren't recognizably musical in some ways, but that do get my brain going and get me thinking and get me full of emotion. So if that was too much for you, no problem. I have a band. And I have a track from a band that, again, out of Canada, and some of the most amazing Canadian metal. I'm talking about a band called 𝖭𝖐𝖐. They are from Ottawa, Canada. They were formed in the late 70s. I want to say 78 or 79, right around the time that the Tokyo tapes were, being recorded in Tokyo by the Scorpions. 𝖭𝖐𝖐 was creating thrash metal. Now, if that name of that band sounds familiar, it's actually the name of a Judas Priest track. And this band was making fun early thrash metal and fun, like over the top, unapologetically metal out of Canada. So we're going to go from one extreme to the other. We're going to go from sort of modern day tech death. We're going to go all the way back to before I was even a twinkle in my father's eye. Fornication. And I'm going to play something by a band called 𝖭𝖐𝖐. And this is essential thrash metal. And these guys' albums are so fun. Like the early discography, which is, and they have a long discography. Don't get me wrong. Like they put out an album in like 2010. So they have a ton of metal out there. But early albums, 1983, they had 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆 1984, they had an album called Violence and Force. And 1985, the year I was born, they have an album that I adore called 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. And it's cheesy as shit. They have this guy wearing armor and his cape is billowing behind him and he's got a fucking like staff and a mace raised into the sky, and it is everything. It's absolutely everything. So if we're going to go back east and we're going to do metal, we got to do all of it from all times, because time is a flat circle. We're in 2021. We're in 1978. We're in Who the Fuck Cares? We're at Fullforce Radio. So yeah, I'm gonna play you guys some 𝖭𝖐𝖐. I want to play you the title track off of Violence and Force. There were a lot of tracks that I wanted to play for you guys, and I was just like, we could be sitting here all night playing 𝖭𝖐𝖐, but we can't do that. We have lots of things to get through. We're probably going to go overtime. My name is Crimsonclad. Heavy metal, hard rock, sass, violence, and full force.
Suck,
go. Yeah! Man, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's all good. And so, if you are listening or watching, hi, welcome to Fullforce Radio. We are having a time tonight. It's not all Canadian metal, but we certainly are playing a lot of Canadian metal because I am taking my first trip back east to see my beloved friends, some of whom are listening tonight. Of course, I see Mr. D, Julia, 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆, who's, an extension of Julia, but also his own person, a strong, independent man or woman or whatever the heck we're calling people these days. But, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to be traveling again, and we may as well be going to outer space. So tonight is a weird combination of talking about toques, because I'm wearing one, because, of course, it's chilly here in Vancouver, and it's going to be downright nipply over in Montreal. I'm playing bands from Montreal. I'm playing a little bit of French Connection and also stuff from space and new music. It's a mixed bag tonight, friends. And these are some of my favorite playlists. So, some nights we just talk about dumb shit for hours. And some nights I am so motivated to play nothing but music for you guys. Just cram it all in. So, I'm going to try and keep things balanced for you. And actually, right before the show, literally just minutes before the show, was the most incredible rainbow. And, right here in front of my desk here in the studio, I have a large, long window that takes up my whole, yes, exactly, violence and full force. Exactly. It's like when they say the name of the movie in a movie and you're like, they said it. Well, it's like they said the name of the show in the song. Sort of. We're going to make it work. But yeah, literally seconds before the show and only lasting for a minute or two was the most incredible double rainbow across the sky. It feels like everything's coming up Millhouse. Everything's coming up Crimsonclad. It's felt good this week. After a couple of really difficult weeks, this sounded a lot like Rush gone metal. Yeah, and Rush was hugely influential on most metal bands, whether they were from Canada or not. These sort of experimental, progressive music that they were creating in these insane epics and this sort of musicality and the talent that they had, was really inspiring to a lot of bands. And certainly Rush has had a hell of a career. I've actually got a Rush patch on my battle jacket. Fight me. I don't care. So yeah. But it feels like a bit of a sign, the sun is up, the sun is shining. It might be a little bit chilly, but the world is beautiful. And, despite all the insanity going on, everything is going to be all right. I can tell you this truthfully, and I can mean it. Everything's going to be okay. I look forward to seeing you guys again. It's going to be awesome. So, what are we doing with new music on this playlist? Because, of course, I've said there's new music, there's old music, there's stuff inspired by new music that isn't out yet, there's Canadian bands, there are, we're doing the whole thing. Well, I want to play you a new track from a band that is putting out an album very soon. And I am looking forward to this album immensely. Hi! Hip Hop Phantom. Hello. If you are I didn't fix that one. I thought we had gotten out of the place where the Metal Gear Solid made me shit my pants every time it came up, but I didn't fix that one. So hey, we have been raided. Hello, Hip Hop Phantom. Now, as a hip hop person, this show may or may not be interesting to you, but hell, you're cool, and I'm glad you're here. So, here's the deal. If you've been to the show, hello. If you've been to the show, you may realize I love stoner metal. I love weird, psychedelic, stoner, occult music. It's fabulous. I think it's so much fun. It's so interesting. And so I want this esoteric, planetary movement, giant fucking spliff sound just crammed into a sort of sleazy, mushroom-laden album. Is that too much to ask? Well, the answer is Absolutely not. I'm going to play something by a band called Mother Iron Horse. Now, the first time they released a single from this... Hey, thank you! Oh boy, this is one. 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆 Have you ever heard of rap metal? I have. Absolutely, I have. And actually, God, we're going to go on a tangent. I have, and I'm going to be bringing it home from Montreal, I have acquired a copy of the very first rap metal crossover there ever was on vinyl. It was actually called the Metal Rap. And we're going to talk about it once I actually have the physical album in my hands, and we're going to do a whole show on it. Even though we actually have done a show on it in the past, we're going to do it again. So yes, there's some great stuff out there. However, Mother Iron Horse, this is some like weird 60s, 70s stoner doom, like menacing evil, but also whatever. It's like whatever, man. This is probably going to be the last single before the album comes out, and I am stoked. So I want to play it for you guys. I want to see what you guys think. My name is Crimsonclad. This is Fullforce Radio. I mean, this track fornicates. What can I say? Now the patient zero is going to make that. I'm going to put that up on the screen while we're talking about this, while we're playing this track. Let's do it. It's Fullforce Radio.
I am the son of a
Yeah. There you go. Whoops. Let's slip away here. So yes, indeed, that gets the stamp of approval. This track fornicates. All right, so Mother Iron Horse, it is stonery, doony, sludgy, a little bit of culty. It's all over the place, and yeah, it's good, man. It's good. It's good. So, I wanted to kind of throw this out there because I know a lot of you guys just come and you listen to the music. Well, I've got you. However, some of you guys are actively always adding to your collection, whether that be merchandise or whether it be music. And gentle reminder that tomorrow is Bandcamp Friday, which is always a delight because if you were thinking about buying something from an artist, whether it be music or merchandise, if you do it through Bandcamp tomorrow, they make mad stacks. They get all of the profits. Bandcamp takes a $0 cut on Bandcamp Friday. I will make a t-shirt that says, this track fornicates. I will have to decide. There's fornicationception there. I will have to decide what that looks like. But yes, abso-fucking-lutely, I will. Yeah, I've got more stuff to put in the store. It's just everything needs attention at all times. And I can't give enough attention to everything. But one thing that I did want to do is why am I not arting? I told you I can't do everything at once. I'm incapable of doing that. If I were to get back into art, I would probably do it full time, which would mean this show would be in deadly danger because it's the same thing as like gaming. I tend to throw myself into things out of control. And so when I get painting, usually I will paint for days at a time. And unfortunately, can't do that. Yeah, digital art. I will paint digitally, but I will do that. Yeah. Doesn't matter. This is about Full Force Radio. We'll talk more about that as we go. But of course, my dears, my darlings. So, Bandcamp Friday. I wanted to throw it out there because here is, Mother Iron Horse. Let's just take a little boo at this. It's so cool. Even the aesthetic is cool. Everything about this is cool. Look at how cool this is. Come on. So, you can find Mother Iron Horse on Bandcamp. I've already targeted a shirt that I want because of course I do. But at the same time, I want to put that Exciter album cover on the screen because I was talking about the Long Live the Loud and I thought I wanted to show you guys it. I want to show it to you up close. Look at this. It's airbrushed. You've got the heads of your enemies on a fucking stick in the background here. You've got your naked lady with her arms around you, basking in the glow of your enchanted, rune-covered, blood-soaked sword. You got a cool hat that's made of horns and skulls. Your thighs are just rippling with muscle. There is nothing about this album cover that I don't love. What can I say? This is a goddamn masterpiece. Look at it. Look at it with your heart. Magic. If I had a panel van, I would airbrush this right on the side. Yeah, exactly, Viking Adventure. This album art fornicates. All right, so there we go. I wanted to throw that up there while we were talking about it. And yes, of course, everybody should remember that tomorrow is the remember the 5th of November with Gunpowder, Treason, and Plot. But doesn't matter. Forget Gunpowder. Go to Bandcamp. Get what you need. So, do we have enough time for all the music that I have? The answer is a resounding no. So we'll be going over time again. Of course we will. But I want to play you guys a bunch of music. So, speaking of space and a band that has been very popular with you guys the last couple of times that I have played them, I want to play some heavy ass melodeath. I want to play some heavy melodic death metal that comes from outer space. Hell yeah. Can you say fornicate in ASMR? Fornicate. It fornicates. Let's just pretend that I'm not saying this track fucks. That's Clay. Does Clay have to get a kickback for saying fornicates first? Did I just steal a saying from Clay? You know what? If I don't pay him, no one will believe it, and it's fine. It's mine now. Okay, so now that I've done the weird nail scritching and the breathing and the fornicating, we can continue. Heavy ass metal. Let's play some ass metal. I want to play a band that literally writes all of their songs about being in space. Being in space, doing space stuff, spacey space. They just released a new track in middle of October, and at the time, with everything going on, it never made it into a playlist, but it's been in the back of my mind. I've still had it, and I was listening to it again today, and I said, hell, tonight's the night. So I want to play you something by a band called 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖘, and the couple of times that I have done space-themed show, I've played these guys. They do some cool, unclean singing. All their songs are about, rocketing through the depths of the universe in pursuit of a new home world for, aliens and shit. And they just put out, inside of a month, they put out a new track called Orbit. I want to play it for you guys. Cool. Let's do it. The track is called Orbit. I am called Crimsonclad. This is called Fullforce Radio. And you can find it here on MSP Waves.
Follow the light.
Into orbit. There you go. Man, oh man, if I'm going to space, I want it to sound like that. So, hey, for those of you who are still with us, I am playing pretty much nothing but music tonight. I know we were supposed to chat and it was supposed to be funnier. We were going to talk about the etymology of toques because apparently no one else in the world calls them toques anymore. They're literally from medieval times. Did you guys know this? Probably not. Let's say that you're going to learn something tonight. If we jump back over here, hang on here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go back to that browser window. Browser window, come back. Where did you go? Motherfucker, where did you go? So here, let's jump back. So Tuque, here you go. I want to show you guys because apparently if you take a look, here is King Philip of Spain wearing the Spanish tocado in the late 1500s. I mean, there it is. There's that's it. Look it. We may as well be the same person, me and King Philip. That's it, man. Check it out. Here we are. Right? So I guess apparently this was a hat that everybody wore, looking very whatever. But nobody actually wore them all the time. But of course, people that ended up over on the east side of Canada, it's cold as shit there, and they started wearing them more and more and more often because then you don't have miserable cold ears. And so people still called it a toque. Everybody else in the world doesn't actually call it that. I mean, they were popular from the 13th to the 16th century in Europe, especially in France. There you go. They came back for a while in the 30s, and now apparently that thing that chefs wear, that's what a toque is. But, I don't know. Like, look at this babe. Here she is in the 1917. Pretty lady wearing a toque. And so apparently, yeah, now, oh gosh, let me out, Wikipedia. So apparently, yeah, this thing, the chef's hat, that's a toque. Go fucking fish. Never say that I don't teach you anything. So here in Canada, we call it this for a reason. I don't know what the reason is other than it's cold. And because they were popular in France, they eventually made their way over to the eastern seaboard of Canada, where a lot of French people ended up and, Métis people. And it was cold. It was cold. So here you go. In Canada, toque is the common name for a knitted winter hat or a watch cap, sometimes called a beanie in other parts of the world. And apparently, the word toque is not recognized by the Canadian Oxford Dictionary. Well, that's dumb. That's stupid. Anyways, there you go. You put your nightcap on, you get cold, you keep it on. Something toque. Fair enough. Nobody said I was going to teach you useful facts. That was not part of the deal. You came to Fullforce Radio for metal, and to that I have given you. So, knowing that we only have 10 minutes left in the show, and knowing that I have, once again, a lot of metal to play for you guys, let's see how we go. I actually have 5 songs totaling like a shitload of time. And also I had an additional track that I wanted to play for you guys. So we're going to cut it down. I wanted to play Cataclysm, another band from Montreal. I wanted to play The Agonist, brand new music off a new album from them. I wanted to play a track, some stoner metal from a band that probably most people have never heard of that I wanted to share with you guys because it is about basically rocketing your ass into space and taking charge of business time, called 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘. And then I wanted to play Amorphis because Amorphis have, as I readjust the lady bits, Amorphis have just announced that they're putting out a new album. Now, if you guys have been around the show enough, you would know that Amorphis is my favorite metalhead. I love this shirt too. Look at this fucking shirt. This is the coolest. You can't see it. Doesn't matter. Very Art Deco skeleton lady. I love Amorphis. I love them. And they have announced that they are going to be releasing a new album called Halo. So I wanted to focus on that. And then I wanted to get some 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖘 in. So the reality is we're not going to make it. So what I would like to do is maybe do The Agonist, Almost Honest, Cataclysm, and then save the Amorphis and the 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖘. And yes, actually, if you want a toque, here is Corbin modeling it. If you want a toque, you can get an embroidered Crimsonclad toque. So if your head gets cold and you would like one, I 1000% can link you to that. It's actually pretty boss, I have to say. Corbin stress tested it for me. And we are going into the winter, so if you want a toque, that's going into the store. It's a badass toque, to be quite honest. I just have a giant head. I need one of these big sort of flippy floppy ones to contain all my brains and all my music knowledge. So let's do it. I want to play a band called Cataclysm for you. They are some more really intense, heavy death metal. Kind of on the edge of sort of a technical death kind of sound. And this is another band out of Montreal. Link to your shop. Well, the whole website isn't done yet. And so the problem with that is some items come from one manufacturer and some items come from another. And in fact, most of the apparel, shirts, actually come a toque and a timestamp. That's right. Most of the shirts actually come from a place in Montreal. They're printed here in Canada. They are sourced, the t-shirts are made in North America. All of it's done, quality in-house. And one of the reasons that it took me so long to find them was because I wanted very specifically to use a local manufacturer. I didn't want you guys to get that fucking Stream Elements print on demand garbage from Cambodia that falls apart the first time you watched it. I wanted a beautiful hand screen printed, North American made apparel. So god damn it, everything's Montreal, kids. Let's do it. And so for those of you who are in the US, they will be touring sometime in the new year, but hopefully a band that we'll get to see soon. If you're ready for some more loud, let's do some Cataclysm. Let's see how much time we have left. With this track on, we are going to come back and it'll be just time for me to say goodbye before the end of the show on the actual radio station. But we will go at least a little bit over time tonight because I want to play you guys some more music. It's a Montreal warm-up. I am stoked to have you guys. My name is Crimsonclad. This is Fullforce Radio, and this track fornicates. Ron, they're throat singing. Son of a biscuit. It's one of those tracks that just ends. All right, so I said I was going to play some Agonist. I'm going to do it. I was going to trim this off the playlist, but listen, this is one of those amazing extreme metal bands from Montreal. And the Agonist, this is a brand new track. They've just put out new releases. Everything is go, 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 go. Screaming, unclean. Yeah, I know, it felt like it shouldn't be over. And that album, I highly recommend. It's off an album called Meditations. I would check it out if you had your druthers. It's actually a new album. It's from 2018. They actually have albums going far back from there. Cataclysm has been around for a while. But if you liked it, you should listen to the whole thing. It's good, it's heavy, it's angry, it's fairly extreme, and a brilliant band from Montreal. So, yes. Oh, okay, Matt. Awesome. Oh, did you really? See, Matt's cool. Matt, you guys don't realize, but he actually does, Pikes Peak, that is. He actually does like an intelligent metal podcast. I do a shitty show that I don't have enough time or spoons or knowledge to turn into a podcast, and I don't know anything useful whatsoever. So here you go. The Metal Brainiac. So a shout out to Matt or Pikes Peak or whatever you want to call him. But if you want to go listen to somebody who's good at metal, it's not me. Click on that. But in the new year, I do want to start moving into sort of interviews and maybe not interviews, but like collaborative playlists and collaborative live radio that I can then trim down and turn into a podcast. But again, it's coming down to the fact that I will absolutely need a full assistant. It's hard. It's hard to educate about blockchain. It's hard to work in a career that I love. Next year, I will be with my company for 10 full years, which is really exciting. I know that's not a thing that happens very much anymore. There's a lot going on, and unfortunately, I want to dedicate myself 100% to all of it. And it's not possible. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what a space where I'm successful at all these things all the time looks like. And apparently it's probably a lot of drugs and never sleeping, which will lead to not being successful. Whatever. That's fine. So with the last couple of minutes available to us, we will continue. But so I do want to play this new Agonist track, and this one will carry us across the line. It's going to cut off. If you're listening on MSP Waves, we will not finish the show tonight. However, if you're watching on any of the streaming options, whether that is Vim TV, Theta TV, Trovo, Twitch, YouTube, wherever, then we will continue. I've got more music for you. A couple more tracks. We'll go a little bit late just to have a bit of fun. Yeah, and you know what? It's not even about cloning myself. It really is like I will start just basically taking any funds that I make from any of my projects and pumping them back into these things. It is a labor of love. Who cares? What's money anyways? And just hiring people who are good at these things to help me. I just don't know where to find those people. So if it's you, and I know Marco has been offering for ages to help me with editing. I made him an editor on Twitch, so maybe we can get some highlights going, but he's a badass and he's doing cool VR stuff. Listen, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. In the meantime, let's do this track, Days Before the World Wept. There is incredible clean singing. There is throat-wrenching growls. There's a little bit of everything, and it all comes perfectly out of Montreal.
The seasons were changed like clockwork. Tick tock, tick tock. The clock keeps ticking. Sirens now calling our names, and we run to answer the call. As long as the seasons still change, till all my memories wither away, I'll hold out my hand and marvel at the days before the world wept. She is calling for my return, and her voice will carry on. She is calling out to a home as a redman's lost in time. She is calling for my return, and her voice will carry on. She is calling out to her home as a redman's lost in time.
All right, there you go. New agonist. Whew, we are towards the end of the show. We are almost done, my friends. I still have some more stuff on the playlist. I'm trying to decide what direction I'm gonna take it in, because I am starving as per usual. Patience here, that gift is amazing. So, Here's what I suggest. I'm going to play you a band called Almost Honest. They are a small, as of yet, kind of unrecognized, unrealized sort of stoner groove metal band, since we're still kind of a little spacey. And then because the shirt decrees it, I am going to play some Amorphous because I fucking love Amorphous. I'm going to save the new 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖘 because, God, it's good. It was on my heavy repeat playlist. So I will move that into next week's playlist. Let's remove it here. And also some of the bands that I have in another tab because I wanted to get you to buy their shit for Bandcamp Day. We'll have to come back to it. It's just, there's so much good stuff out there. What can I say? All right, so with that being said, let's do the thing. I want to play you a short track, like I said, stoner groove, and a little bit of fun about going out to space and dealing with some business. If we were talking about, metalhead and growling evil from the depths of, the outer reaches of the universe, this is kind of fun. So let's do this. It's a band called Almost Honest. I actually discovered them just trolling around metal Twitter, and I really enjoyed this. There's something fun about this, so I'll put on business suit. Since going to Montreal feels like basically going to space, that's my lame connection for a lot of the tracks in tonight, and I don't care. Yeah, Mariano, it's fun because Vicky's been with the Agonist for quite a while now. But previous to that, it was 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 who ended up moving on to Arch Enemy. There are not nearly enough growling, screaming, clean singing, crossover metal chicks out there. And yet also there are a ton, Ginger and Spirit Box, and, the list is huge. And we don't always get a chance to really focus on them because it's hard to put together a playlist of nothing but that without being like, oh, they're female in metal. It's a crazy thing. You don't want to be, you don't want to point out like a girl, but at the same time, man, there's some cool shit going on with females in metal right now. So female fronted metal doesn't have to be a subgenre. It's just a reality of metal. All right, let's do it. Almost Honest, not female fronted, very groovy, very fun. Business in Space, and the penultimate track of the night. There you go. A band called Almost Honest, and honestly, we're almost done for the night. I have to admit, there's something like very like 60s go-go dancer about that, but it's like, ha 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 ha, except it's also really sinister. And so I wrote in chat, it's like, that track sounds like it should be in a Tarantino movie or something while everybody's getting, I don't know, chopped to bits by a katana or run over by a lawnmower, or I don't know, it should be in I don't know, one of the Evil Dead movies or something. But hey, we've come to the end of the show. It's very sad. I hate to tell ya, but that's okay, because I will be live from Montreal next week. If everything goes well, if the tech cooperates, then we will be doing another Full Force radio. Now, gentle reminder that if you come to all of my shows, then yeah, Saturday, unfortunately, I will be on a plane. I will not be able to do Cyberbuzz Radio. I will attempt to maybe do some live chats or something this week to kind of help ease the pain. And we'll see how things go. But for tonight, it is all metal all the time. And of course, I do want to play the shirt track. It is a Full Force radio must. And so what I want to do is I want to play an Amorphous track because, of course, thank you, it was a banger. And in fact, it was a fornicator. I want to play you an Amorphous track, and I want to play an Amorphous track I have never played on Full Force radio because, of course, I have played a lot of Amorphous in 5 years because they are arguably one of my favorite bands of all time. I have played stuff from across their discography, from the late 90s right up until Queen of Time from, a couple years ago. Dozens and dozens of different songs. I actually want to play one. It really honestly doesn't have much to do with space, but it's as close as I could get, and a track that's excellent that I haven't had an opportunity to play for you guys. So it's a perfect way to leave tonight, some Amorphous, knowing that soon they will be releasing new music, which of course means a new touring cycle. Lots of cool things going on. I'm incredibly excited for it. So, in the spirit of loving Amorphous, in the spirit of having a great Queen of Time, what does it mean? Well, this is the Queen of Time. She's looking a little rough, though, doesn't she? Queen of Time is the name of their album, actually, their last album that they put out. They've had an incredible run. But, I mean, what time? Who knows? Time is a flat circle. What does it mean? We'll never know. Yeah, there you go. We'll never know. So, with that being said, I'm going to play something off an album called Skyforger. And Skyforger is an album that is full of songs that are pulled from the national Finnish epic poem. So, there's a lot of Finnish mythology here. I'm going to play a track called From Earth I Rose. It is the last track of the night, my friends. I hope you've had fun on Full Force Radio. There you go. An incredible track from Amorphous. I mean, I don't know about where all these breasts have all the weird colored milk. Listen, Finland's a trip, man. But it's a great track. It's a great track. And yeah, there's that sort of like little wooden piccolo flute going on in there. It's like 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖘 and some great guitar solos. It's a beautiful track. Unclean singing, incredible clean singing, acoustic guitars layered on top. It's a banger, man. The track fornicates. So, hey, that's it for tonight. I will see you guys next week. I hope you had a lot of fun with Full Force Radio. Tonight's playlist is a killer. It's a killer. I'm going to spend all day tomorrow hopefully catching up on show posts, hopefully getting things together and, making more stuff for you guys to enjoy. But in the meantime, tomorrow is a huge release day. Huge. New chemists, new omnium gathering. Look, there's a lot going on tomorrow. I will be looking forward to bringing it to some of you next week if you come back, if I didn't scare you away with extreme metal. Anyhow, have a good one. Be safe. I will talk to you after touchdown. This has been Full Force Radio.